Good evening, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Sunday. Tonight, I want to talk about a few things. The Sunday evening news, local, state, and national news going on around Yonkers and the nation. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Hope you're having a good evening. Good weekend, right? The weather was pretty nice. And there were a lot of cool things that took place around Yonkers today. I don't know if you guys saw my video from earlier. I was over at Chicken Island today where they were having an event. It was a back to school giveaway, right? They were giving backpacks and other school supplies to young students here in the city of Yonkers. And that's something that's done a lot by a lot of different organizations. This time it was the Rough Riders Rescue, and they were out there. Chicken Island had a nice big event. They brought a lot of cool things out there, actually, and I got to give it up to Rough Riders for that, because some of the things that were there I have not seen at events before, like that whole video game, although I've seen that before, but I've never seen it at events. I thought that was a great idea. It's this trailer that kids go inside, and there's a bunch of television screens with video game consoles, and they can just go in there and play a bunch of different video games. I think that's pretty cool. You can rent them for birthday parties and other functions. They had a money machine thing that was blowing money around. You have to get as much money as possible. Of course, they had the bounce house. They had a DJ playing loud music and a bunch of tables set up for the giveaways that they were going to be doing. Also, the Taste of Israel. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that food truck. I recommend it. It's pretty good. Shout out to Off the Hook. If you are ever in the mood for seafood, check out Off the Hook. I've eaten there several times. I have not been disappointed. And no, they have not paid me for this. I just support the local business. Good shrimp for sure. Even catfish, actually. And I don't really eat catfish like that, but I'll eat their catfish. So that's the Rough Rider Rescue there, Vin. And you can see there, they are a nonprofit organization. As you may or may not know, Rough Riders is a legendary hip-hop record label. They blew big in the 90s, late 90s, with an artist by the name of DMX. Ever heard of him? Rest in peace, DMX, who passed away some time ago. And, there's a whole thing with that and the jab. But anyway, they have done really well in the music industry. They've had also the super hip-hop group, The Lox, Styles P, Jadakiss, and Chic. Styles P, actually, you can find him sometimes at his juice bar there on Yonkers Avenue. So that's another local business by local guys. So shout out to them. Always supporting that. But yeah, they had a lot of cool things here. There goes the trailer there. If you don't know what that looks like, that's the trailer.
Oh, and you got a mobile game thing. That's pretty cool. These things come to parties and stuff, and they set up video games inside there, so you can bring them to all your events.
And this is the money thing. I don't know if it was real money, but you still win a prize, right? That was cool.
Wait, that's. I would imagine that. Check out the mobile game.
Look inside. Pretty cool.
So, how cool is that? Video games. Bounce house. So come on down here to Yonkers.
So that was what's going on today. And I want to start off positive, right? I mean, not that I'm going to get negative. I just want to be positive. That was a great event that was going on today. And also for all you Double Dutch fans, the Yonkers City Council President, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, held a Double Dutch tournament, I believe, at Serrato Park on Riverdale Avenue. I used to go to that park a lot back in the day with my parents and other family members to play handball, actually paddleball. Any of you guys ever remember that? Everyone playing paddleball. Well, I was too young. I never played, but we would go there a lot, and I lived by there, so I would go there and take my kids a lot. Actually, we were there not too long ago. They have sprinklers there if you ever, hot day and you want to go somewhere. But yeah, they had a double dutch contest, and if you don't know what double dutch is, it's jump rope, but using 2 ropes. Right, and you do it like this, and the girls used to do it all the summers when we would actually go outside. Right, when kids actually played outside, you would see girls jump roping, double dutching. We would play tag and manhunt and stuff. So they did that over at Cerrado Park for a few hours. I'm not sure who won, but that was a positive event for the community. It's good to see the city council president out there engaging the community and doing different events. It's great to see you. So shout out to you. Now let's go a little bit bad, right? But it's not bad. 13 defendants charged with submitting millions of dollars in false transportation. This is crazy. From in and about August 2017 to February 2020, KJ Transportation Sea Services, and I've seen these vans around Yonkers, I have, was paid more than $20 million for providing transportation services for Medicaid enrollees in the New York City area. But they were fraudulently billing. They were billing for routes that they were never doing. Beginning in August 2017, KJ began submitting claims to Medicaid for purported medical transportation services for eligible people in the New York area. And this company is owned by Georgelina Brew Gill, 32, of Yonkers, New York, the owner, and her husband, Julio Alvarado, 59, of Yonkers. He's the manager. KJ submitted more than 100,000 claims related to hundreds of thousands of trips. However, a large percentage of those claims were fraudulent. In some instances, the Medicaid recipient was deceased. It's kind of like the voter thing, right? Or out of the country when KJ claimed it was transporting that person to medical appointments. And in other instances, the Medicaid recipient had never even heard of KJ Transportation and never had taken a ride with the company. Interesting. Unbelievable, right? So a large number, again, of those claims were fraudulent. Julio Alvarado supervised over a dozen other participants in the scene and was responsible for billing over $8 million in fraudulent trips. Wow. In addition to the prison term, he was sentenced to 3 years of post-release supervision in order to pay $8.5 million in restitution and forfeit $8.5 million. Wow, unbelievable. Yep. So you might be interested in that. But speaking of Jose, I should say Alvarado, we got Jose Alvarado, who's the current Westchester County Legislator for District 17, but he is up for re-election this November. Again, Jose Alvarado, the Westchester County Board of Legislator representative for District 16, is up for re-election this November. His challenger, another man named Jose Diaz. That's right, folks. Republican Jose Diaz is challenging. And I like Jose Diaz a lot. I know him. I know his wife. Great people. Very passionate about making change in the city of Yonkers. And so I want to highlight Jose. I'm actually supporting Jose. I like Jose. This is what he commented. If I win the position of county legislator for the 17th district, I will represent the people to the highest of my abilities. And I believe that. I agree with your assessment, of the problems we are facing in the city of Yonkers. We have an urban crisis in the form of subpopulation of low-income families and individuals. The actions taken by the city of Yonkers is called social dislocation. They are creating changes of the social organization of the inner city areas. Segments of our community have been methodically broken apart. This is a social experiment. They're destroying a sense of community. It's not happening by chance. And he's referring to a lot of the changes that are happening. It's not just in Yonkers, and I've talked about this, but throughout the country and even the world, right? As they do these developments going up, these 15-minute cities, many people, and I was commenting with someone on social media, on Facebook, about people being displaced. And I spoke about Mulford Gardens in particular, a low-income housing project that had 500 units. It was knocked down, and rebuilt with only about 100 or so apartments. So, just under 400 units were not brought back. Many of the people were relocated somewhere else. A lot of families were separated. They were given vouchers when this was happening to go anywhere in the country, but it was difficult because most people didn't know really where to go. A lot of them just went down south because it's cheaper down there. That's what we all hear up here up north, right? So we just automatically do that. But many families were not able to relocate together as they were once, living here in the city of Yonkers. So, what's going on here, right? And he speaks about this. And I like a man that's in touch with what's going on. Jose Diaz has been going out into the community very recently, meeting the people, speaking with people, meeting business owners, going all around, taking pictures of the problems, posting them to social media, on the ground, boots on the ground, doing the legwork. That's what we need. That's what we need. We want change. We complain about things not being done, things remaining the same, but we continue to vote the same or not vote at all. That still has a negative impact. Nodine Hill is represented by current legislator of District 17, Jose Alvarado. That's Elm Street, all the tree streets. That area is probably the worst area in the city of Yonkers, and it has not changed. You go over there and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. The drugs, the homelessness, the prostitution in broad daylight. Jose Diaz got to witness that himself when he was over in that area going around and speaking to people. And so for many years, it has been that way. I was even affected. My entire family was affected when my uncle was murdered on Elm Street in 1991. So nothing has changed. People are still getting shot. People are still murdered. Even police officers get shot in the Nodine Hill section. So why are we continuing to vote the same? Why have the people not voted for someone else? Jose Alvarado has been in county legislator for a very long time. He first appeared on the scene there as a legislator in 2002, where he remained until 2011. And then he became city clerk of the city of Yonkers for a very short time. What happened there? Let's take a look at Jose Alvarado. And if you're living in District 17 on the county, you should want to know about this, right? You should want to be informed, know who is the person representing you, know who are the individuals that are running in the election. Maybe you want change. Is Jose Diaz that change? I strongly believe so. Yonkers County Legislator Jose Alvarado knows what it means to struggle as a young man, held a series of minimum wage jobs, in order to help and to support his family while working to earn a high school equivalency diploma. A high school equivalency diploma. Jose also knows how to help those who are struggling to get ahead. How so? Right? We cannot just go off words. Words come out of their mouth all the time. Actions do not follow most of the time. How has he helped many people in the Nodine Hill section who are struggling get ahead? Right? Jose's experience as a community activist launched what he has been an unbroken commitment to serve his community and a life of public service. But many people, and I have spoken to them in his district, do not see Jose. If they even know who he is, those that do say he doesn't come around. He doesn't do much for the community. And this is just the words of the people. I'm not making this up. Jose Diaz will tell you, I'm sure, when he's been out there. Jose Alvarado's volunteerism over the years spans a wide variety of community and civic groups, including Clusters, who's very suspect to me. That's an organization that brought in over $19 million in contributions and grant money. Yet, just under $900,000 of that $19 million was actually used for the services they say they are providing to the community. The rest of the millions went to benefit for employees, compensation, all for employees. his parish, Iglesia San Andreas, which is over there on Elliott, makes sense now. Lorraine Lopez, you'll find her there often. And again, this is the group that I'm talking about. When I say it's not a bunch of people I speak about a club. They are part of the club. National Association of Latino elected and appointed officials. Jose also serves as executive board member of the Boy Scouts of America, Westchester Putnam Council, the Southwest Yonkers Living Transformation, and I don't know how recent this is, Yonkers 3rd Precinct Community Council, and No Dine Hill Common Good, Inc. Jose has served on the advisory boards of White Plains Hospital, Diabetes Center, the Westchester Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Yonkers Mexican Chamber of Commerce, and the Westchester Community College Yonkers Extension, South Broadway Business Improvement District, which many residents, specifically Latinos, specifically Mexican, American, have had issues with. Where was Jose when the South Broadway bid was harassing a food vendor? Where was Jose when the South Broadway bid was yelling at a homeless woman sitting at Lincoln Park, an elderly homeless woman? Where was Jose when a child went missing in his district? Jose Alvarado, I mean, because Jose Diaz was there with the family. He's showing up, and that's what we need. We need elected officials that show up. So Ludlow Park, No Dine Hill, Park Hill, Getty Square. Where else, Jose Diaz, would you represent if you were elected? Forget about party. If you're a Democrat in that district and you see that there's an R by Jose Diaz's name, that doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean anything. And in fact, here in the city of Yonkers, there is no Republican Party. Jose Diaz has pretty much been in this battle on his own. Doesn't matter if he's the endorsed candidate. It's not how it works here. It's a uniparty. And the incumbent is usually the endorsed candidate of the uniparty. And that would be Jose Alvarado. But we have to think differently. We have to think outside the box these days, especially as Democrats. As we see what's going on around us, we have to start to vote for people who really show that they will represent you. We have an absentee council or county legislator there who's been MIA. Not even at any really, going to any of these events that you see most of the other officials at. So we need somebody that's going to be in the community. The Yonkers Time, one of these news outlets that we spoke about, Ron Matten and I, who are paid by the city and officials to advertise, they're never going to write negative stories, right? And sometimes you have to because they're truthful, but they're never going to write a truthful story that will make one of these members of this club look bad. Jose Alvarado is one of them. Yonkers Rising endorses Jose Alvarado. Of course. Dan Murphy? Of course. Yonkers Rising endorses County Legislator Jose Alvarado for re-election and Democratic primary June 22nd. We are pleased and impressed with Legislator Alvarado's last 2 years in office. Let's see what he has done. He has renewed spirit to try and improve the lives of the residents of the 17th District in Southwest Yonkers. He has a renewed spirit because he wasn't doing much before. So he's renewed his spirit just in time for re-election. Ain't that something? One issue that concerned Yonkers Rising and the people of Southwest Yonkers is the sewage treatment plant. One thing Freddie Vasquez has not gotten a complaint about is the sewage treatment plant. But people have complained about our elected officials. People have complained about the crime. People have complained about the homelessness in the southwest part of Yonkers, the lack of housing, affordable housing. People have complained about a lot in Southwest Yonkers, but the sewage treatment plant has not been one of them. Maybe those who live right up on it, the few people there, but those are the people that vote, I guess. The sewage of the people of Westchester has landed here. Alvarado issued a statement on the treatment plant, which showed his knowledge of the issue and what could be done realistically, but quickly to help the people in the district who have to deal with the fumes. But what about the crack fumes, Jose Alvarado, that the children have to deal with over on Elm Street? Or the fumes from the K2? What about the bullets that they have to duck? Sometimes they don't get lucky enough and duck in time, and they get hit like that 6-year-old a couple years back. People duck bullets. People hop over drug addicts on the floor. People dodge prostitutes, all in District 17th in the No Dine Hill section. But his concern is Sunnyside over there, where the people have beautiful homes, and the sewage treatment plant. Is it just to get money for that park that they announced soon after? Yeah, of course. So really all about the park. It's all about Ginsburg and the developers that are doing their projects there. Let's get money under the guise of doing something about the fumes from the sewage treatment plant that has been there forever. Forever. Because I lived on Buena Vista. I know the area. I used to walk through Sunnyside to go to Fayfield for Little League practice and games. Don't remember any fumes bothering me. I love the area, in fact, and I wish I lived there. It was like night and day from my neighborhood. The sewage treatment plant has been a sore subject in the Ludlow Park community for decades. So now he's just working on it? Sitting on the Hudson River, the plant is a source of air pollution to the disgust of our residents. Despite cries from locals, officials have done little to fix the problem caused by the plant. I have always recognized the air pollution from the plant as a serious health hazard, more serious than the bullets that are flying throughout Elm Street. More serious than the fentanyl that's flowing through the veins of someone who's overdosed on Walnut Street. All the while, young children hop on the bus. And I know because it was when my daughter saw a man on the floor, probably passed out, not dead, that we knew we needed to move up out of here. She said, "Look, Ma, guy's dead." So imagine what the kids say who live in that community. I mean, there is a community center at the top there, but you got a lot of problems all around it. And what has Jose Alvarado done? Has he even walked down Elm Street recently? I do not believe that in my lifetime I will see another plant built, whether in the north or elsewhere, rather than watch our residents get sick. Have they? Has anyone been reading about this? We need to fix the problems that are causing the unhealthy air while working on responsible development in the surrounding area, because that's really what it's about. You know, not too far from there, Joe Cotter purchased the Leak and Watts property for $50-something million. So he can build a bunch of movie studios, although it's not zoned for the movie studios. But why would he make such a large investment if he could not build the project that he wanted? Did he know that they would change the zoning of that area? He's been forecasting a lot of zoning changes, that man. Maybe he can give you the lotto numbers. Where are the walnut trees on Walnut Street? How about the shady elms on Elm Street? That's right. Right? So he cares so much about this treatment plant over there. Why? Because there are a lot of people that vote. I think Eileen O'Connor and her Indivisible folks, live in that area as well. Very powerful political group, right? So it's all about catering to those that will get you elected. People on Elm Street aren't voting. The prostitutes aren't going to the polls. The drug addict is overdosed. He can't make it. And the single moms have to make sure their children are home safe, not getting hit by a stray bullet, more so than they're concerned with going to vote. So screw them. I mean, we give them free food here and there. The best we can do. But the people on Sunnyside, in those nice homes over there, they vote. They support. They come out to meetings. So he got his wish. 2020, Westchester Mall's building new park next to Yonkers wastewater plant. So it's all about this park. Ginsburg development there, the movie studios. It's not about the people. That's been like that for decades, right? So they didn't care about your health for decades, but now they want to develop this whole area for the wealthier folks who are going to be coming in, and now they care about the air. Now Jose Alvarado is concerned with your health. It's got $1 million view. It's got $1 million view, but hopefully it doesn't come with the million odorous fumes. A vacant lot on the Hudson River behind a Yonkers wastewater treatment plant would be converted into Westchester County's newest park in a proposal by one county lawmaker. Legislator Jose Alvarado, Democrat of Yonkers, wants to include $10 million in next year's capital budget to build the public park in the Ludlow Park section of Southwest Yonkers. Well, I'm glad that the only people in Southwest Yonkers that get a $10 million park happen to be not Hispanic or not Black. The few non-Hispanic and Blacks in the area. They get the $10 million park. This is really the county government investing in an area that has suffered with bad odors for decades. Let's put that $10 million and fix up Elm Street and the Nodine Hill section. Let's put that into rebuilding that area, creating some jobs for the people in that area, getting help for the people in that area, assuring that investors are not coming up there like Marked Realty, buying up all the properties dirt cheap and then renovating them and jacking up the rents. Doesn't matter if it's rent controlled, because technically you can still get out of that. As long as you don't have tenants and you renovate 80% of the property, you can apply to get out of rent control. And so you can understand, if you've been listening to my podcast, why people have been tricked into moving out of certain properties with fake building department letters. How do I know? Because I saw it myself. I was alerted to it by a tenant who actually fell for it and moved out. That apartment was quickly renovated and listed for rent on Zillow. It looked beautiful. Problem is, when you got to the building, the first thing you noticed was the front door had windows that were broken. Very dangerous. When you walked up into the hallway, there were holes in the wall. The first floor tenant needed medical and mental help. He was living with black mold and about 6 inches of water in a back room. The second floor tenant, don't know what was going on with them, but they were still there. They were actively trying to get them out, threatening them. And this is what's been going on. Has Jose Alvarado cared about this? I know someone on Elm Street who said their rent was going to go up by $500 a month on Elm Street. Does Jose Alvarado care about the abandoned buildings where the homeless go in to use drugs, danger to children who can get pulled in? I don't think he worries about sex crimes, however, because one of his good friends is a convicted pedophile. The plan has the support from the neighborhood civic group, of course. and city officials, of course. The proposal isn't new, he said, and was pushed by residents in the neighborhood alongside odor remediation efforts at the turn of the century. And we're just now getting to it? That's unbelievable. But Jose Alvarado wasn't always the county legislator for District 17. No. He was also the Yonkers city clerk at one point. But then he decided to resign, stating that he wanted to go to work in the private sector. But that's not what happened. He ended up in the Yonkers Parks Department and would later be elected again to District 17, where he serves currently. So why did he give up his $102,000 job, which was more than what he makes now? And this was back in 2012. And what private sector job did he go to? City Clerk Jose Alvarado has quit just 4 months into the job, saying he'd rather spend his time working in the private sector. When initially presented to me, the idea of being city clerk sounded fabulous, close to home, friendly working environment, and out of politics. But is that really out of politics? Alvarado, a former County Westchester legislator, wrote in his October 16th resignation letter, after serving over 18 years in government, 10 of which were in elective office, I have come to realization that the private sector presents a better opportunity for me and my family. Bullshit. Excuse me. Alvarado dropped his bid for a 6th term in the county legislature last fall after his Democratic primary loss to Virginia Perez and began work as a $70,000 a year legislative assistant to Mayor Mike Spano in January. He scored the $102,500 a year clerk job in late June thanks to an alliance between a dissenting city council Democrat, Wilson Terrero, the body's Republican minority. Alvarado's resignation, which became effective Wednesday, leaves the mayor's younger brother, first deputy clerk Vincent Spano, who worked for many years as second deputy, well positioned to take the #1 spot in the clerk's office. So what do you think happened there after just 4 months? Why did Jose Alvarado quit? He was making $102,000. This was in 2012 when Mayor Spano became mayor. So why did he leave? Jose Alvarado actually went to the Parks Department. He works at the Parks Department now. He's a county legislator again. He won the seat again back in 2019. So his first year back was 2020. He's been there ever since. Nothing has changed in the Nodine Hill or any parts of the district he represents, except the one part in Southwest Yonkers where you can find Caucasian folks. And I love you. I do. I have no issues. Point is that our own kind put others before them. At least look out for your people, Jose. Pero no. Tú haces que ellos te digan qué hacer. No verdad. So he will do the bidding just like many other elected officials, except he takes orders from those who are actually below him, right? It's a real thing. But Jose, I hear, would not show up to work. Supposedly, that was the rumor that was put out there, and that's why he had to go or something. He resigned. They were saying that he was drinking on the job and he would come in smelling like alcohol. This is what the rumor was, not what I'm saying, just repeating what was said already. I don't know. I think that it was, done to get him out the way. So my main man, 50 grand, Vinny Spano, could become the city clerk. That's what I think. And because Jose is not a clean guy, they had stuff on him. And they said, dude, you can resign and we'll give you a job with the city. Maybe you'll come back into politics somewhere else. But we need that spot. Wilson, you thought you had them. The Latinos was trying to make a move. It didn't work. and now they sold out. ¿Eso qué pasó? Dímelo. Dímelo, Wilson. Dímelo. But I love your backyard. Very nice. Been there once. I was in the club till I wasn't. It's okay. But Jose Alvarado has recently been named the majority leader of the Westchester Board of Legislators after Chris Johnson had his whole housing scandal. He submitted a resignation letter also. Actually, the first county legislator to resign since the Board of Legislators was created. It's not a good record to have, but that's how it goes. Chris Johnson bought a house outside of his district, and the board charter states he must live in his district, otherwise he vacates his seat. So when he moved into his new house a year ago, he actually vacated its seat. So the resignation letter was just for formality. He already had resigned, technically. And so Jose took over, but that was the setup. Remember, they try to jam you up, and you got it. They knew that you had done that a year ago, but they waited for the right time. They got Catherine Borgia out, but that Gashi in. Shanae may be in unless Debbie Kozak, can pull it off. And I was saying, could a white woman win in District 16? An area that's predominantly Black and Hispanic. It's becoming a little more white. Hispanic population's growing. Blacks are dwindling. But is that much different from Mike Spano winning mayor of Yonkers, a city that has a high population of Hispanics, soon to be the majority? And if you combine Blacks and Hispanics, we are the majority at that point. But yet and still, a white man continues to win. It was a Black woman that allowed him to run again. Interesting. So, can Debbie Kozak pull it off? If Mike Spano can, why not Debbie? You'll be better off, District 16. I can almost guarantee you that. But I don't like to make guarantees. So, the new majority leader, in a vote on Monday, July 10th, the BOL voted majority whip Jose Alvarado to become their new majority leader. The Honduras-born Alvarado became Westchester's first Latino county legislator in 2001. He served 5 terms from 2002 to 2011 before returning to the board for the 2020 year. Alvarado won re-election for his 7th term in 2021. Employed as an administrator of the Yonkers Parks Department, nothing private sector about him. Alvarado's commitment to his district is evident. Mark, really? In his effort to improve the community. Mark, how so? He successfully secured funding for various projects, such as including a new water access park in Ludlow Park neighborhood, the completion of the South End River Walk project, and the modernization of Tibbetts Brook Park. But this isn't Jose Alvarado's projects or ideas. He is just a warm body that fills a seat. This has already been mapped out. Jose just has to sit there and nod his head yes when the time comes. That is why he's not in the community, speaking to the people, hearing their concerns, and addressing the people of the district he represents concerns, because these concerns doesn't sound like the residents' concerns. They sound like the government's concern, developers' concern, those who wish to transform Yonkers. And while, sure, we could use some of these improvements, but ultimately, who will benefit from them? Will it be you? Or will you be long gone? He has also been instrumental in supporting youth programs and ensuring the well-being of seniors throughout the county. Tyree Woodson, who used to be the aide for Elliot, Elliot Engel, I met him when he was still an aide. Of Mount Vernon replaces Alvarado as the majority whip, which makes no sense to have a majority leader and a majority whip. All that does is eat up more taxpayer money. And these individuals don't do a dang thing. Okay? Folks, let's just be honest. Just be honest with me. Right? Regardless how you feel about me. Let's just be honest. Barring any more unforeseen scandals at the Board of Legislators, and I do have some if they like, but they don't want to hear it, Alvarado will serve as majority leader until a new vote is taken in the next term, starting January 2024. Moving on up, Jose, moving on up. But why did you resign? Was it to make way for the prince? Soon to be mayor one day? It's all planned. It's all planned. Folks, have you been following along what's been going on in Maui? Man, it's very sad. It's very sad what's happened there. The people that care so much about the air are the same people we saw driving with a surgical mask all alone in their cars. Right. These folks have no clue. These folks have no clue. Right. So they're still so gullible. Right. Maybe because a lot of them are elderly now, and they still want to have this belief, in the way that this matrix works. But the reality is they just want your votes, folks over there. They could care less about you. Oh, just wait till the movie studios go up over there. Just wait till Ginsburg really gets it cracking over there. You ain't going to be there anyway. So the air quality is not going to be a factor to you because you're going to be gone when they have all that traffic, all that mess, because I know Sunnyside in that area. It's very peaceful. That's what I loved about it. And I'm sure that's what you folks who lived there also loved about it. That's why you stayed there. But that's going to change. Are they telling you this? Do you envision what it's actually going to be when the movie studios go up? Syracuse has its satellite campus there. Ginsburg's built its towers. And that park opens up for everyone to enjoy. You didn't think about that. You didn't think that far ahead. Maybe some of you did, those who have recently moved there from the city, dreaming of that bike pass that you can take all the way up to Albany with your dogs. Right? So, of course, who is it going to benefit? People from Yonkers? Well, yeah, the ones who recently moved. And not that I dislike you folks. It's not about you. It's about us, the people from Yonkers who have been wanting these things for so long for us. Never gotten them. But now we're seeing the changes. They're telling us it's for us, but it's not. It's just so we can go along with it for now. Don't be fooled. I warned you. Maui on fire, folks. A lot of conspiracy theories about this Maui wildfire thing. And it's crazy. It's strange. Listen, we have to be open to everything. Right? Check out what this guy has to say.
Doing reporting through social media is idiotic. Don't use social media. Do not rely on people who fancy themselves as influencers. The word influencer, right off the bat, suggests that they want to influence you.
Get off your phone. Get off your tablet.
About ways for the state to acquire that land.
Right now, Pete, I can tell you that to my knowledge, we here at Fox are the only national media in West Maui. West Maui is isolated physically and in terms of information from the rest of the world. Cell service is rough. And the only reason we got here is that, as you know, my family's been here for something like 40 years, and we have property here to get through the security checkpoints. In fact, Pete, the mayor of West Maui saying,
so they don't want you to listen to the influencers, quote unquote, people like me who bring you the news on social media, but people are relying on us and, specifically those who are reporting on this every day to bring information. They are cut off from the mainland. They don't have cell service, no electricity. In fact, all of those utilities were cut off just before the fires began. People noticed that cell service was gone before the fires began. Electricity went out. No sirens were heard warning people of these fires. Where are the sirens, the warning system that they have set up? No one was warned by anyone. It's like it just happened. just, what is it? What do you call that? What's that word? Combustion. I forgot the combustion. No, is a word. Humans have self-combust. I forget. Where did this fire originate from? All kinds of conspiracy theories are coming up online, and they're keeping the public in the dark. They don't want the media there, but they don't want the social media folks talking about it. They don't want people sharing information online. They're telling you not to look at your phone, not to look at your tablet. That journalist was saying that they wanted him to leave. What's with all the secrecy?
This narrative that the media is lying about the reality of the Lahaina fire is incredibly frustrating for me because I am the media. I am the editor of Maui Times, and I have tried relentlessly to get direct information from the County of Maui as well as the Maui Police Department. Both entities have been radio silent and have not responded to any of my calls or emails over the past few days. I also spoke to Maui police officers in person in Lahaina, and they all denied me my First Amendment right to freedom of the press by denying me access to Lahaina town as well as denying me information. They even sent me on a wild goose chase trying to find their media coordinator who had conveniently gone home for the day by the time I found where he was supposed to be. So it is not the media who is lying to you because I am obligated to only report what has been confirmed. Who's lying to you is the government entities who are trying to cover their asses and not take accountability for how grossly mismanaged this entire situation has been.
At the very least, if there's no conspiracy of how this started, right, which they still don't know how the fires ignited, they're trying to cover up the fact that they mismanaged this emergency, as similar to Hurricane Katrina. But if we have all these government agencies and they spend all this money, billions of dollars to set all this up, why are they always mismanaging emergencies? That's their job. That's why they exist. But it seems like there's always mismanagement. In fact, people are reporting no federal or state help. Food is not allowed to be brought in, but if you're online and you know where to look, you can see videos of people from other islands that belong to Hawaii coming in on boats with supplies, right, on jet skis to bring in supplies to the people of, I forgot how to say that place, Luhi, I can never say it, but thank you, spontaneous combustion. That's what the word I was looking for, or the phrase. There are a bunch of investors that are calling all these people now wanting to buy their properties. They say they're like vultures. We're trying to find loved ones and family members and just gather our thoughts. And I can understand because I dealt with people who have been through a fire and their home destroyed, but this is on a massive, a scale. So I can only imagine, right? People are becoming more suspicious. The locals, the residents, they're becoming more suspicious of the police, of the government, FEMA that's out there, the Red Cross, police, I should say, were not letting people leave. They were telling people, this one guy was saying, they were making everyone go to this one street, one area, but now allowing us to leave the town where the fire was, almost like they wanted us to stay in harm's way. Right. And again, utilities were cut off. The water was cut off. They couldn't even, people were trying to spray their properties with hoses. There was no water. They didn't see any fire trucks or anything. No electricity. People were saying the phone was off and the warning sirens never went off. Right. No advance warnings at all. And a lot of people are reporting many children missing. These are the locals. And how many are actually dead? Are they reporting the facts? They're saying 89 now, but they're talking about 100,000 people could be dead. There's dogs that are literally cooked, animals cooked, charred. This isn't a regular fire. I've seen fires before. I've been doing that 10, 11, 12 years. I've seen homes in fire, even fires that burned bad, even fires that had just been let to burn down. This was an intense heat. Cars melted. Homes disintegrated, ashes, with trees still standing. Some of the conspiracy theories include direct energy weapons, lasers. Let's take a look of locals here as they go through the city, and this is devastating. This looks like a nuclear disaster.
Yeah, that's metal too. Damn.
That's what most of the roofs here are made out of.
Thank you.
It's I can't believe the firemen aren't here blowing this out.
I know. I don't know what's going on.
Well, there's no cell service. There's no internet.
Right, but this fire is huge.
I know.
Like,
It's just jumping everywhere.
I'm sure they know it's here, right?
Look at this.
Like, this is... Oh, fuck.
God damn it. This motorcycle's gonna catch. That's all right. Let it burn. Just get out of there.
It took us like 30 minutes to get out of our neighborhood. It usually takes us, you know, turning out of your neighborhood doesn't take long.
Oh God, that's good. All right, everybody, let's go. It's go time.
Did you have a to-go bag ready or just your stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you'd
We
already
had to-go bags ready because we knew maybe worst case scenario, just in case, you know, we packed a few things, just like, you know, bare essentials. And if, thankfully, I mean, we thought, because we saw the fire and we're like, this might get really bad. So I grabbed like my ID, the cash I had on me, my diploma, my phone, chargers, tons of water, like 12 water bottles I fit in my backpack. So my backpack was pretty heavy, but we just grabbed everything that was in immediate need.
How'd you guys end up at the waterfront? Like,
So this is what they talk about police and how police kind of corralled people toward the waterfront and they felt that they were trapped there.
what led you guys there? Were you just being chased by the fire, and that's where you were?
Yeah, we're just being chased because we tried to get back in our car and try to drive away from it, and then we just got trapped from the people getting out of their car. So we just jumped in the water because we were right next to it.
You got it. It's all you.
Thanks.
That's crazy right there. Actually, that's not that they were going to talk about it, but there were several people talking about how the police were keeping them from going where they wanted to go to get on the highway. One guy said he just went around police and other cars, went on the sidewalk and got onto the highway because he wanted to escape that front street or waterfront street, is something that is called there. This is National Guard here. And listen to what they say about what ignited the fire and why it spread.
So the first thing is, for all of the fires, they haven't been able to determine what ignited the fires. There's three conditions that we got from the National Weather Service. They call it a red flag alert. So that's dry conditions, right? So you got dry field, trees, plants. You got low humidity and high winds. So winds 20 miles per hour or greater. And we had all of those three through the end of today. So we knew the conditions were very dangerous for wildfires.
They knew the conditions were very dangerous for wildfires, but no one was alerted. They didn't warn people, hey, we can have a serious wildfire. This is a red flag situation. And nothing, no sirens, no warnings, no nothing. They weren't prepared. They didn't tell people to, brace yourselves or nothing. And why is it that there's so many wildfires happening all over the country and the world all at the same time? California recently, Canada made the skies of New York orange. And in Europe, there was a guy, they caught him setting fires to a forest over there, creating a wildfire. Is it arsonists? Well, according to some residents who are dealing with their insurance companies, the insurance who are assessing the damages and looking to maybe, pay, these claims are labeling this as arson. So if you don't know, whenever there's a fire, just as part of protocol, the insurance company will send a fire investigator. These are usually retired fire marshals who create a company just to, consult with insurance companies, for insurance companies. They'll come in and it's just standard. They want to make sure they know exactly how the fire was started. They want to make sure, one, that the owner of the home or property didn't light it themselves or the insured. That would be fraud. And secondly, if it wasn't, what caused it? Was it a refrigerator? Can we sue the manufacturer? Because insurance companies want to recoup their money. And so they will, and I've seen this happen, take whole refrigerators, dishwashers, and even lamps to sue the manufacturer of that because they want the money that they're going to pay out to the homeowner. And so then they make a report and they tell you what was the cause. Most fires are deemed electrical. Sometimes they don't have a clue and they'll just put electrical, but most fires are electrical. Or people started, whether it's arson or by accident. Here in this case, some residents are saying that the insurance companies are labeling it arson because they're trying to understand what ignited the fires. Sure, the conditions were perfect, heavy winds, dry conditions, but there needed to be a spark. What was the spark? Well, according to some people, direct energy weapons. And is this footage of a direct energy weapon captured? So check this out. I mean, listen, and I'll get into why this isn't a conspiracy after I show you this. But this was actually on official news, CBS, Channel 4 here. It's like spontaneously combustion, right? But look at the light. See this? So the gas station drive, you can see that you see the thing here coming down. It was actually traveling with the fire. Look, it's moving along. I don't know. Is that? Some people are saying that's what ignited the fires in Maui. DEW, direct energy weapons. Is that some conspiracy? High energy lasers, Raytheon. I didn't want to accept the cookie, so I didn't go all the way. Count on our lasers to clear the skies. The Department of Defense spends about $1 billion annually developing laser weapons. Did you know?
Department of Defense spends about $1 billion annually developing directed energy weapons, such as high-energy lasers and high-powered microwaves. These weapons can disrupt or destroy their targets at the speed of light. For example, DoD has developed high-energy lasers that have successfully shot down drones, but speed isn't their only advantage.
Doesn't that look like the
They're
fire that was starting?
For use than traditional expensive per use. They're also their only advantage, but speed isn't their that have successfully shot down.
Remember the gas stations?
Down drones, but speed isn't their only advantage. They're also less expensive per use than traditional weapons like guns and missiles. Despite those potential advantages, DoD has had trouble getting these technologies out of the lab and into service. The Army has developed a detailed transition plan to support moving these weapons into the next stages of development.
Moving these weapons into the next stages of development. So this is not a conspiracy. These weapons actually exist. And if that video there is real, that's what it looked like. What happened? I mean, if you look at the homes, they look like they were directly targeted. You don't see any burn marks really on the roads or showing the fire traveling to house, right? You don't see a burn trail like I'd see when I would go inside a home and we'd identify the source of the fire and then we can see the path of the fire. It's very clear. You don't see any path traveling. You just see homes burnt, trees still up, but just the homes. It's very strange. Look, it's just very strange. Check this out. This is in San Diego, California. That's a direct energy laser. This is the target. That's a drone. And you don't see the laser, right? Just like the gas station footage that caught fire. And it takes out the enemy. And I've heard about these things before this Maui fire. And you can go on YouTube and you can see from legitimate sources, CNET, real laser weapons used by U.S. military, direct energy weapons and hypersonic weapons. I mean, it's not far-fetched. And we should at least consider it. Why is our government spending billions of dollars to build things that destroy?
If you live in New York and you're a Con Edison or PSG
Why do
customer,
they spend so
don't
much
skip
money
this YouTube
building things that destroy and kill? Look at that. Yet this is saved. How did that happen? The
We are
winds?
seeing loss of life here. As you know, the number has been rising, and we will continue to see loss of life.
It's just complete devastation. We've talked to a lot of the people at the resort we were staying. They were bringing the displaced families over there. There were people that weren't able to know if their house was still there, where their family members were.
Well, I actually drove through Lahaina today, and it was to the ground, nothing. Like the whole town was gone.
When you see the full
ashes
extent of the destruction of Lahaina, it will shock you. It does appear like a bomb and fire went off, if I may. And all of those buildings virtually are going to have to be rebuilt. It will be a new Lahaina.
It will be a new Lahaina, a 15-minute city Lahaina, built by greedy developers that will look similar to what they're doing here in the city of Yonkers, mixed-use development. 15 minutes, you can go anywhere, to your job, to the gym, to Starbucks, to the child care center, dry cleaners, to the local bar, to the public transportation, and back home. That's 15-minute city. Guess what? At least they were prepared, because the city, Maui, actually, the island of Maui, already had a plan in place since January to redevelop the area into these smart cities. So now they don't have to do the demolition. The laser weapons have already done it for them. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate you joining me. That reminds me of Hurricane Katrina, when FEMA stopped all the relief trucks from entering the 8th and 9th Ward, which are the poorest in New Orleans. It's all a land grab. They want people to die, especially because they don't want family members to survive who can then claim the land, right? The next of kins. They want whole families to wipe out, so the land is left to be taken by the greedy investors. And believe it or not, that happens here in the city of Yonkers. People die, don't have a next of kin. They leave the house there to get into a tax lien situation. No one knows about it. They don't do a public auction. Those who belong to the club that I speak about get first dibs. And I've seen them buy these homes for as low as $2,500. They should have paid at least $500,000. And they build their wealth while the rest of us don't have these opportunities. It's a land grab. That's what's going on. It's a wealth transfer. It's not a conspiracy. It's always been going on since the beginning of civilization. What do you guys know about the Fed? Is it part of the federal government, or is it a private bank? What is one stipulation to being the head of the Fed? You can only be the chairman of the Federal Reserve if you are of the Jewish religion. Not one chairman has been anything other than of the Jewish religion since its inception in 1933, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that strange? Even the chairs, I believe. Guess I'll never be the Fed chair. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Have a beautiful night. 4, bragging rights. Where did they meet to come up with the idea for the Federal Reserve? Name the location. For bragging rights. Come on, I like history. I love trivia. Oh, it was 1913. You're right. I said 1913. Where was it? Where was the location, Mode 85? I know you're going to get it. Happy 88th birthday to Ron Paul. End the Fed. That's right. End the Federal Reserve. You know, our country borrows money. Congress is supposed to be responsible for printing our U.S. dollars. But was it Jekyll Island? That's right, Jekyll Island. And they went under fake names. They didn't want nobody to know. Who was it? Was it Wilson? Woodrow Wilson. He made the mistake, and he said it. right? Once they signed the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, the president knew he had made a huge mistake. He turned over the hand or the country into the hands of the bankers, the international bankers, and that has been our problem ever since. We are all slaves. We are all slaves. It's a slave debt society. That's what it is. We are all slaves to the debt for the most part, unless you have zero debt and you got a bunch of cash. But even then, you don't own your house technically. I don't care if you paid it off. You don't. You don't own your investment properties all right out. It's a mortgage. Read up what that actually means. They blackmailed him, right? Yeah. So all these politicians are crooked. They're into, weird stuff, and they're easily blackmailed, right? That's what whole Epstein thing was about, right? The whole blackmail. Mossad, 9/11, Mossad. By the way, has anybody look? I saw a video before I get off, and I want to share it, and I think I have, from a helicopter, a news helicopter that was flying in the air after the first tower was hit. I don't know, Mode 85, have you seen this? Oh, yeah, Jose Diaz, good job. Yeah, right. The helicopter is filming the first tower after it was hit, and then all of a sudden, at the time when the second plane is supposed to hit, the second tower just explodes. No plane. The journalist in the helicopter says Tower 2 just exploded. The people at the studio say, oh, another plane hit the second tower. And the guy goes, no, there was no plane. That's a rare video. And I have another video of a guy coming out into the parking lot just before the second tower explodes. No plane. He was going to the top of a parking lot to film the first tower on fire. And as he opens the door, he goes out there and you see it. And then he makes a phone call. He had a video camera. He makes a phone call. He's on the phone video. And he's saying, the second tower just blew up to whoever he's talking to on the phone. And they're telling him a plane. He's like, no, it wasn't a plane. It just blew up. Remember, many New York City firemen, brave men and women who lost their lives that day, said they heard explosions, secondary explosions. How did Tower 7 fall? It wasn't hit. Larry Silverstein, made a lot of money on his insurance payout. $4.2 billion, I believe. And he had just purchased those towers not that long ago, and he increased the insurance policy. He added to Terrorism Act or something like that. They fought him on it. The insurance companies, no. They didn't want to pay because they knew what actually had happened. But then someone stepped in and said, you better pay that man, because we have to believe that it was a terrorist attack and that it was a man on dialysis living in a cave that can pull off something like that. Yeah, right. That was a demolition. No true, honest structural engineer will say different. They will tell you that was a controlled demolition. No ifs and buts about it. Unfortunately, those who want to keep it a secret are extremely powerful and will kill to do so. But Americans need to open up. I know it's hard to believe that our own government, and it's not our entire government, it's rogue individuals within our government, greedy people who are international. They're connected internationally. They don't have an allegiance to one country. Many of our, public officials on a national level have dual citizenships with Israel. Israel has been listed by the FBI as our biggest threat when it comes to surveillance, right? They surveil us the most. No other country spies on the U.S. more than Israel. Israel is the only country you cannot criticize without being called anti-Semite or being called something negative, right? Like in that in terms of racist and stuff like that. You can talk about China and Russia all day long. You can talk about, Libya and Gaddafi, glad that he died. Oh yeah, blow his brains out. Yay. Say that about someone in Israel, you're an anti-Semite. It's strange how that works. But not all anti-Semites are Jewish. Palestinians are also anti-Semites, I believe, right? So get it correct. But it's not about criticizing the Jews. It's about criticizing a country that has also attacked America. The USS Liberty was attacked by 2 Israeli fighter planes in the 1960s, killing U.S. military men. Remember the last country that attacked U.S. ships? What happened? We went to war. That was the Japanese, Pearl Harbor. But Israel does it, nothing. Research it. They killed our sailors, got away with it. That was an act of war. We send billions of dollars every year to Israel, just like the Ukraine, but we've been doing it to Israel way longer. Right? So it's we have to look at all this stuff, right? We are Americans, black, white, brown, Hispanic, whatever, Asian, doesn't matter. Americans. This is our team. And someone is messing up our team, man. I'm a proud American. I love this country. But someone in this country that's powerful, or some entities, are screwing this country up. Look all over the country now. Philadelphia, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, New York City. This is crazy. What's going on here? And it's not getting better. It seems like this country is deteriorating, yet they're building a bunch of luxury rentals. Does it make sense? Doesn't make sense. Why are they just allowing a bunch of migrants? Not that we don't want to help people, but it's having a bad impact. Let's have a plan first. Let's just not send them into cities with no plan. Now you got a bunch of, people prostituting themselves in Queens, Venezuelan women. And I hope to have a speak to a volunteer, who's volunteering with migrants. I want to get more information on what's going on. They're not even being helped. It's not like, people think that they're getting everything. They got certain things to get them here, and then now they're being left also. So it's like, screw them now. You're here. We got you here. We fooled you. We gave you a scooter and some hotel stay. But what happens after that hotel stay ends? Right? So we, America, have to step up. America first. America first. Doesn't matter what color you are, black, white, brown, yellow, pink, purple, green. I don't care if you're an American. You're on my team. I'm on your team. America first. Enough. I'm a Puerto Rican who grew up poor in the hood. I love rap. I used to wear baggy pants and do-rags. America first. I love this country. Our kids' future and grandkids' future. You can't be serious if you support Biden anymore. I mean, you get a pass if you didn't know any better at first, but at this point, you should not be supporting Biden. I'm not saying support Trump. I'm just saying don't support Biden. Don't support those that are in power. They have shown us that they do not care. They don't care about us. America first, man. I just want to say that because this country is scaring me, man. It's really scaring me. What's happening? It's concerning me. The economy is not good, folks. It's bad. It's going to crash. We're going to have a recession. They're talking about another pandemic. And you got to believe them because they forecast the first one. So we have to educate ourselves and stop thinking that what everyone online is saying is BS and some conspiracy. Sure, there are a bunch of nut jobs out there, but there are also people out there making some sense. And a lot of them are very credible, credentialed. People that have been talking to folks about the jab for a long time. And look what we're seeing now as a result.
but didn't believe them, right? You believed the CDC and the WHO. They don't care, folks. This is a group of very rich people that do not care about the majority of people, and they are shaping the world to the way they see fit. You're just, it's their world and you're just living in it. And we are all enslaved here. It's a debt slave system, right? That's what they do. They get us, conditioned to want, the bigger and better homes, more fancier cars, right? They got to go to the best schools, so you got to spend more. It's all about getting the money that you bust your ass working, slaving for out of your pocket, because they really want the labor to be for free. So they figure it out. If we get them to work, we'll give them the money, but then we'll get it back from them by selling them pointless shit, making them think that they need 5,000, 4,000 square foot home, even hell, a 3,000 square foot home. And that they need, the latest and greatest. And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. There was a point I thought that too. But that's not what it's about. Right? So just want you folks to just think about what's happening. We only have each other. America first. America first. Forget about what the person is saying. What are they doing, right? That goes both ways. If, like a person, Trump, he's talking things that you don't like, forget about that. But what is he doing? The man kept us from going into war. The man had the economy booming. He had other countries scared of us. Now they're making fun of us. Now I see the comments from people all across the world saying America is crazy. They're calling us dumb. You got to see the comments from people in Europe and other countries. They're calling us dumb. They're saying their own government is hurting them. They don't even know. Other people see it. They know we're being lied to. They're telling us one thing about Ukraine, but it's really not even happening. Wag the Dog. You ever see that movie? Just wake up, folks. Wake up. Our country is going to hell in a handbasket. We need to stand up, educate ourselves. I love this country. It's the greatest country in the world. But for how long?